There's a wonderful expression by the German romantic writer Novalis, Friedrich von Hardenberg, who said, this is a wonderful thing, he said, the days are distinct, but the night has only one name. You know, it's as though when it becomes night time, it goes back to this continuum that we're in all the time, because we're mostly alone. I mean, we may live with people, but in terms of, you know, we're not in an office and, you know, driving through the traffic, we're more likely to be on our own. And so that solitary journey is reinforced by the night time, I think. And that interests me a lot.
I think that
culture is never outside nature. You know, nature is always a step ahead of us. You know, no matter what we kind of construct for ourselves, whatever crazy intellectual ziggurat we prop up, you know, nature is always outside it and around it and through it and under it. And of course, sometimes, you know, we have these magical, meetings with the world around us on hot nights. You know, the night is meant to be cool, the day is meant to be warm. But you know how strange it is on a warm night, and it's kind of mad. It seems unnatural to go to bed or to retire for the night because it's so hot outside. And I think times like those kind of unusual circumstances where you find yourself, you know, particularly out of doors, on warm evenings is one of those. That's one of the things that sprang to mind when you said it, because it kind of turns things upside down a bit. We feel like we should be up, but it's the middle of the night. I often find that great performances or great musical concerts are concerts where the performance disappears into the music.
I think we've just become the same person, actually.
Right.
As I began to think about lullabies, it occurred to me that they have many functions that coexist. And the mode of communication, again, there are parallel lines going, which is that on the one hand, on a very basic level, these tuneful melodies have hung around for a very long time, and there's a reason for that, and it's probably an evolutionary psychology one around the cadences and the pitch and all those things, but they've hung around. But these babies don't understand the words, so for whose benefit are these words?
I love niche Melbourne, and I feel like there's a huge space to write for it to be written about more. I know that there are some exciting writing projects starting up, but it's not all night noodle markets. And so I think Melbourne has a lot that's mysterious and dangerous and strange and exciting and experimental that isn't visible. But Melbourne seems unique in that people are willing to give you one chance. So if you say, I'm going to put on a piano festival, or like something even weirder, or like I'm going to, I don't know, plant a whole bunch of trees in this milk bar, and then we're all going to, you know, and then people won't reject that. They'll go once, you know, if it costs less than $12. Yeah. And I think that's quite amazing about this city, actually.
And then the night comes, and all these things, this magic appears in the sky, and then you realise your smallness in the universe. You realise there are many universes, many stars out there, and it's just a really liberating feeling. And I imagine that's what a lot of scientists of old thought. I mean, it was looking up at the stars that motivated Galileo and Copernicus and Kepler. And it's this escape. The night is this escape into other worlds, and it's both frightening because you realise your smallness in the universe, and yet sort of so exhilarating because you feel that there's so many possibilities. I find in mathematics there's that same effect as the evening, which it's when you look up into the stars and you realise the expanse of the universe, and then you've got this tool, this mathematics. It's just a human construct. It doesn't exist outside our brains, and yet it explains so much of what we see. But actually, I find that mathematics is so soothing. It's like meditation. It's when you've got the worry beads, and it's got this rigour about it, and it's very, very soothing. In fact, I'm very lucky. I've got my son Jack in the audience there somewhere, and he, I know, finds the same soothingness of the mathematics.
Do you ever just think purely in numbers?
As you get more on in maths, there's no numbers. There's just all sort of
ends.
That sounds like my kind of maths.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Cities, it's almost better to judge them at night than at the day. My personal opinion is that cities are remarkable when they are liberal and daring and tolerant. Those are the characteristics which I like. And great cities at night have the confidence to just let their citizens go a little bit, to just go a little bit wild, because I think that's our inclination at night, is to just blow off a little bit of steam. There are very few people who would tell you, I'm a loon during the day, but at night I'm a really serious and boring person. It always kind of goes the other way around.
Hospitality has been kind of a haven for the disenfranchised of society. It's been a refuge for anybody who doesn't have a qualification and can't get one, who's recovering from addiction or depression, who's had a hard upbringing.
Yeah.
Hospitality was that place where people would come and be accepted, no matter of their cultural background or their beliefs.
I steal a lot and copy a lot anyway, because I'm quite I'm critical of this sort of the act of creation, or this kind of this position that one could create something out of nothing. I think I'm interested in expanding the notion of dance and choreography. So I'm not at all interested in entertainment or even kind of virtuosic feats. I'm sort of more interested in, it's not so much about democratization in terms of a postmodern aesthetic, but it's so we can produce new kinds of platforms and associations and spaces for dance and choreography and choreographic thinking.
And I think to create something cultural in this city, to create something that has lasting intellectual and cultural impact, part of what you've got to do is you've got to find a way to build it into the kind of fabric of people's everyday life. And the early evening isn't a bad time to do that.